You've probably heard it before. Be more present. Breathe deeper. Feel fully. Reflect more. Heal constantly. Somewhere along the way, what began as a gentle invitation to awareness has turned into a never-ending performance. A performance of inner peace, of self-work, of perpetual growth. Ironically, in our effort to accept ourselves as we are, we've created a new standard of perfection, spiritual perfection. Now you're not just expected to look good, succeed, or be kind. You're expected to be mindfully optimized, to meditate correctly, think clean thoughts, process every emotion flawlessly. And if you don't, something must be wrong with you, right? But what if nothing is wrong with you? Sometimes you just feel messy, confused, stuck, human. But instead of accepting that, we analyze. We dive into ourselves like archaeologists, digging deeper and deeper, hoping that the next layer will finally explain everything. But what if all this digging isn't enlightenment, but a spiral? There's a point where self-awareness becomes overthinking in disguise. You tell yourself it's healing, growth, processing. But quietly, it's just anxiety in smarter clothes. And the more you reflect, the harder it becomes to let go. You might feel like you're always one insight away from peace, one practice away from finally being whole. But peace that depends on effort is not peace at all. It's pressure, constant pressure to fix yourself, to be better, to be enough. We've created a culture where healing isn't a journey, it's a job. And you're always behind schedule. Everywhere you look, someone is telling you how to be more mindful, more healed, more emotionally intelligent. There's an app for your breath, a podcast for your trauma, a coach for your inner child. Inner peace has become a product, mass-marketed, packaged, monetized. We've taken silence, that sacred, ungraspable thing, and turned it into something you can buy on a subscription plan. But real peace doesn't have a business model. It can't be sold to you because it was never missing. It's just been drowned out. And when we share our journeys online, what are we really doing? Is it connection? Or is it performance? Sometimes spirituality becomes another stage, a way to prove that we're doing the work. You post your journal, your cold plunge, your shadow integration. But who is it really for? When awareness becomes a brand, when vulnerability becomes currency, when healing is something we perform, we risk losing its soul. And all the while, there's this lingering illusion that one day, you'll be fully healed, done. But the truth? There is no final version of you. There's no arrival point where the pain ends and clarity becomes permanent. You're not a project. You're a process, a living, breathing contradiction. And that's okay. The idea that one day you'll be completely free of doubt, fear, or sadness, that's not healing. That's another fantasy. A softer, more seductive version of the same perfectionism that made you feel broken in the first place. It's worth asking, whose version of mindfulness are we following? Because many of the traditions we now consume, meditation, breathwork, awareness, weren't meant to make us more productive, or more marketable, or more likable. Eastern wisdom never promised a better version of you. It pointed to the disappearance of you altogether, the dropping of the ego, the loosening of control. But the Western remix turned it into a self-improvement strategy, a way to manage stress and optimize output. And in doing so, we may have completely missed the point. What if awareness isn't meant to perfect your life, but to help you see that it never needed to be perfect? And here's another paradox. The more you become aware, the harder it is to act. You question every emotion, analyze every desire, dissect every thought. Soon, even simple choices feel heavy. Paralyzed by your own insight, you're stuck in endless observation. You know yourself so well, but you no longer trust yourself. Sometimes you just need to move, choose, live. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's messy. Not everything needs to be processed before it's lived. And let's talk about vulnerability. You're told to open up, to share everything, to feel it all. But constant vulnerability is exhausting. Being raw all the time can tear you down instead of building you up. There's beauty in privacy, in silence, in not needing to explain every piece of yourself. You don't owe the world your wounds just to prove you're healing. You don't need to narrate your growth to have it be real. So maybe we need a new kind of mindfulness, one that's not about fixing or improving or achieving a higher version of yourself. Maybe mindfulness is not about controlling the mind, but befriending it. Not about conquering your emotions, but sitting beside them without judgment. Not about always doing the work, but remembering that you're already enough, even when you're still unfinished. Maybe real awareness is gentle, imperfect, unimpressive. Maybe it whispers rather than announces. Maybe the most sacred kind of peace is the one that doesn't need to prove itself. And in the end, maybe the truth isn't found in the next breakthrough, the next guided meditation, the next ritual. Maybe it's already here, in the quiet space between two thoughts, in the pause before your next breath, in the moment you stop trying to be more and simply are. So let me ask you this. What if awareness isn't something you build, but something you return to? What if it's not about effort, but surrender? And what if the most powerful thing you could do is nothing at all?